no one has explained to the public what is really a 30-year project to expand our pieces on the board all over the former Soviet Union. No one's explained Project Ukraine. No one has explained to the public that Zbigniew Brzezinski, by the way, whom I liked and thought was really a smart guy, how he laid out in 1997 the strategy. Clearly, it's in a paper called The Strategy for Eurasia in Foreign Affairs magazine. He says by 2005 to 2010, we'll be inviting Ukraine to join NATO. This was a long-term plan. It's backfired. It's gone terribly wrong. And you ask me, what's the truth about Ukraine? The truth is that Ukrainians are dying or being seriously wounded at a rate of typically more than 1,000 per day right now. Sometimes even twice that number. There's an incredible destruction of Ukrainian society underway right now. And the few people that are in charge of this policy, whether it's Zelensky, I don't know if he's in charge. People say he'd be killed if he tried anything else. But the few people that are in charge on the Ukrainian side and the very few people that are in charge on the American side, because they're running this whole war, are really fighting to the last Ukrainian right now. This is what's actually happening. It's terrifying. This is not a democratically elected government in Ukraine. This is a government of martial law that has overstayed its constitutional limit. There is no internal constraint. People are being shot at the rivers, the border with Romania, for example, if they try to swim across the river to avoid conscription. People are being dragged off the streets right now because they're being sent to the front lines with no training, essentially. Maybe they're told how to handle a gun and how to load it. But then they're sent off to the front lines and they're dying in huge numbers right now. And this is American policy. This is our policy. This is supposedly in the defense of freedom. This isn't in the defense of freedom. This is in the quest to put our peace on the board in this game of risk that we're playing. Now, it's all turning extraordinarily dangerous. The Ukrainian regime is very radicalized. It is fighting for its survival as a regime and killing a lot of its citizens in the process, but it's doing things that are extraordinarily dangerous, sometimes at the provocation. The British, for example, always provoking. They were an empire longer than we've been an empire, and their behavior is even worse, though they have less power now. But they always tell the Ukrainians, go smash the Russians wherever you can. And a couple of weeks ago, the Ukrainians hit the radar of Russia's anti-nuclear war early warning system. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? You want to really end the world by destabilizing the early warning system against a nuclear attack of a nuclear superpower? But they did that at 2 sites. But I think what the public should understand is that Russia's aim all along for basically since the 1990s was to keep NATO out of its next door, to keep NATO out of Ukraine. And that was true for basically the 25 years of Project Ukraine. And when Russia launched its military operation on February 24th, 2022, the aim was to push Ukraine to declare neutrality. This has been the basic Russian purpose for the whole period. And immediately Zelensky said, within a few days, even by before the end of February 2022, well, neutrality might be possible. And what happened was in March, as people have come to know, and again, this is one of those things where I knew it firsthand, the Ukrainians and the Russians started to exchange documents for ending all of the conflict. This is 2.5 years ago, for ending this war based on neutrality. And it would have worked. And the Turkish foreign ministry, which is very skilled, they've been doing foreign affairs in the Black Sea region for 500 years, since the Ottoman control of Constantinople, the Ottoman conquest, 1453. The Turks are very good at it. They became mediators. And the two sides reached an agreement in essence. There were still some fine points, but the U.S. and UK told them, no, keep fighting. You'll win. We're going to crush Russia with our economic sanctions. We're going to crush Russia with our super weapons, with our HIMARS and our Patriot missiles. You're going to defeat Russia. You're going to get everything. Boris Johnson famously infamously went to talk to Zelensky in early April 2022, telling him, no, we'll never back you if you go for neutrality. This is Project Ukraine, and it's been 2.5 years, about 500,000 deaths of Ukrainians since then, for nothing. Now, I told them very explicitly, my Ukrainian former friends, they stopped listening to me. They didn't like anything I was saying. They thought I was a Putin apologist and all the rest. I was trying to tell them on the basis of 40 years of experience of American foreign policy. I told them a basic thing. You're going to be the Afghanistan of Europe unless you understand the trap the U.S. is getting you into. No, Mr. Sachs, you're completely wrong. Then they stopped talking to me. But what we're seeing is exactly Ukraine becoming the Afghanistan of Europe. What do I mean by that? I meant Afghanistan was in war for decades. It was destroyed. Its civil culture destroyed, the economy destroyed, the organization of the state destroyed, the infrastructure destroyed. That's American handiwork.